Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. I'm going to give you all a review, an instant review. I watched this with my mom. No, I watched it with my mom.
With your mom?
Yes.
Okay.
And after the movie ended, she looked at me, she goes, I think that might be better than the original book.
Wow.
And
we love your mom.
I looked at her, I said, you know what? You've got a point.
Oh.
And it made me think. It's a beautiful movie.
Thank you.
You all did just a wonderful job with it. But it made me think, as I researched more of the layers, and you all obviously did more than I did, the fact that this book was almost never made blows me away. Also, the fact that there was never a story told about that story, and here we are.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of firsts with this book. It's a pretty strange story to come up with at any time of the history of mankind. But yeah, a sort of time-traveling supernatural tale that has, truths about, human goodness and hope. It's pretty unique, and
Obviously, and at the core of it, it's all about being human.
Yeah.
And working out what we need to be human, and that's why I think it resonates, and that's why it's still kind of sold in its millions and translated into hundreds of languages, and it's.
As you uncovered the layers, though, of this fascinating man, what surprised you both the most?
I think the time pressure that he put himself under to write this thing, he gave himself this impossible deadline of 6 weeks and Christmas looming to write this Christmas book that nobody particularly wanted. And had he not met that deadline, I think we might not have had many of his other works.
Yeah,
I think
true.
he was sort of about to plunge into a very deep depression. And this book, saved
Unblocked him,
Yeah.
didn't it? And the other interesting thing for me is to find a Dickens he's 32. And he's a very modern Dickens at 32. I mean, he's a rock star on his difficult fourth album, and he just thinks he's a bit of a failure. And and Dan portrays him in this really interesting and different light that you've never seen before. I mean, he's a whirlwind, and he's full of energy, and he's got a gleam in his eye, and he wants to kind of take on everything. And it's a really fun, dynamic way of doing Dickens.
This is the first time I've done an interview with the director. Talks like that about the actor. They're sitting right there.
Sitting
That's
there, just
cool,
like
man.
staring
No,
at
but
your
you know
shoes.
what? No. You did a fantastic
You
job.
did.
Thank you.
Because you're right. Charles Dickens, you kind of see him as, the older character, and you're the energy that's there, the almost desperate sense, like you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
about he needed to get this done.
Well, it's important to remember, I think we so often think of the sort of the great bearded sage when we think of Dickens, and actually it's important
I
to
thought you were
remember...
going to talk about me.
Right. The great sage, no beard.
I like this room.
But to remember the young man that went on to create that sort of great monolith, but then also the child within that young man, and the sort of the shadow that loomed from his childhood over the rest of his life. Very important to look at that, and yeah, it's interesting to sort of, remember the human qualities of these slightly kind of untouchable greats that we think of them as, and I hope it certainly gave me a fresh appreciation for his work, and reading Great Expectations again in light of everything I'd learned from him, playing this was really exciting, really interesting, and it really kind of popped out again.
Can we talk about the legendary Christopher Plummer, who was just
Yeah.
fantastic?
Yeah.
So what is it like to just be on the set with somebody like that?
Oh, it's amazing. He's such a... He turned 87 on our set,
Yeah, he did.
And he wasn't that fussed about a birthday cake, was he?
No,
He was not impressed.
it's like you're wasting your time. Come
think-
on, time is money.
Yeah.
Start filming.
Yeah.
Turn over.
He was ready to go. He's so sharp and funny and sparkly and witty and playful, most importantly. And I think it was the dynamic that I hoped we would get, with Dickens and Scrooge, is that you need that sort of love-hate dynamic and the sort of gentle needling of each other.
And it's very easy to play Scrooge as a curmudgeonly old. I mean, the thing about Chris, and I think the reason why he's been working for so long is he's got this little naughty little boy in him. He's got a little gleam in his eye, and you see it. And so even when he's playing this curmudgeon, there's a human being behind it all. And I think that's why, I mean, he's electric in this, isn't he? I mean, these two together have got amazing chemistry in this film. So, yeah,